And we are back, double again. Um, that give back, that's such a huge thing. Um, any motivational speaker, any really successful person that comes up with a set of rules, there's always a give back rule, always. You
Yeah,
know,
no,
the,
definitely.
each one teach one, right? It's you have to be giving back. And I don't know if you're getting something personally out of that and it makes you better, or if like the universe sees it. But it seems to be, especially if I'm in a funk, I take a look at what have I done not for myself lately, kind of thing. And it steers the ship. It straightens you out pretty quick.
Yeah, one of the things that I like to do, and I don't really broadcast it, but I want to be able to do more of this, which is why I am going to kind of broadcast it and
Hmm.
shamelessly plug, because I think some sponsors for this would be great, so I could like
Hmm.
pay the guys at least.
Right.
But there is a program here called Habitat for Humanity.
Oh yeah, we have that.
Um, and so when we are low or slow on jobs, because I have to juggle between the construction management business and also the contracting business.
Right.
So there are going to be times where I'm not going to take contracting jobs just because I really need to focus on the construction management projects.
Yeah.
Like right now is one of those times where I'm taking small jobs, but I'm working on pre-construction on some pretty large projects, and I need to focus on those projects.
Totally.
um and so, but I still need to like keep my skill set, right?
Yes.
And I still need to keep working. So I go to Habitat for Humanity and I volunteer.
Yep.
And, like they have a project. I know the project manager, they have to turn it in on March 2nd. I'm going to text her on Monday. Pretty certain because I've been getting emails from the program director that they are running behind, and they were struggling to even get volunteers to like,
Yep.
they said post COVID, it's been really hard to get volunteers back up. And usually it's like big corporations. So I'm going to reach out to her this week and find out where they are in the project. And I'm going to do a social media push and
Good
be
for you.
like, hey, I need a crew to come in and I will pay you half the day. You volunteer half the day
Yep.
or you volunteer the whole day because that's what you should really do because
That's
we all
really
need to
what you
give
should be
back.
doing. That's right.
But, I also know some of these people, they're living paycheck to paycheck,
Oh,
and
totally.
I
Yeah.
can't ask them to do that because it's the difference between, putting food on the table and not. So, I'm willing to foot the 50% bill if other companies or sponsors or whoever, wants
Hmm.
to sponsor the other half of the day. And so, I'm not saying that I want people to come and work for free if they work for me.
Right.
Although I have had people who work for me who have said, hey, oh, you're going to a habitat
Yeah.
thing? Like, yeah, sure. I'll sign up for the same day, because you know, haven't put any volunteer hours, and they know they're not getting paid for the day, but they're just doing it because they want to give back to the community. And so, sometimes we just do things because we just do things and it
Yeah.
has nothing to do with us. There is nothing in it for us, to be really honest, like financially, marketing wise, nothing. Like, I mean, we're not posting it online.
Yeah.
We're not broad. This is literally the first time I mentioned it. And it's because I
Yeah.
think if I can get sponsors, I can bring more people
Oh,
to these
totally.
things. And so, but it's so that I can give more. And that's the main reason I want to grow this business. That's the main reason I have such lofty goals for, the GloJoy brand. And,
Hmm.
everybody thinks I'm crazy, and that's
Good.
cool.
They're supposed to. They're supposed to.
But and I maybe won't hit those targets, or maybe I'm not thinking big enough. And for a long time, I feel like I wasn't thinking big enough.
Yeah.
And I wasn't thinking that I was capable of. And this industry chose me. I did not choose this industry.
Yeah.
The trades also chose me. When people didn't show up for work or we needed extra hands, I had to get in there. And there will be people who will watch this and be like, no way, Gloria can do drywall work? Get out of here. She's not serious. And these are probably people who knew me 3, 4 years ago when,
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't really know how to hold a knife. You know? But I picked one up and I learned.
Yeah. And
Um, and I'm not as fast as the people who've been doing it for 20 years. I'm not as fast as the people who've been doing it for 10 years.
uh,
But I
but
also use other tools, much like you and the taping queen, that a lot of these old school people won't even pick up and try.
yeah, yeah, it's ridiculous.
So I make up in time by using the tools,
Yeah.
what I lack in speed in the old school way. And so I would say I'm in a hybrid here between old school way and new school way. And, I will eventually learn how to use all of these tools, and they are expensive,
Yeah.
but it's worth it
It's
because,
yeah.
I mean, one job will pay for the whole set, a small job at that.
Yeah, I mean, going and getting a compound tube set's like $1,100, and on your first site, that should pay for itself. It like
Mhm.
quadruples your output, and then
Mhm.
on your second, just as easy. On a big site, 10,000 board feet or something, that'd buy you a Predator for sure.
Mhm.
Um, because now you can tape the whole thing in a day, not 3 days or however long it takes. And if you're looking at things that way, just like what you're saying, it's yeah, I'm not the best out there because I haven't been doing it for 10 years. That's why I can't do it as fast as a 10-year guy. That just makes sense to me. But
Obvious. It's obvious.
other
It's, like,
people stand
obvious.
there and go, I'm a 10-year guy. Okay. What did your stuff look like when you were a 2-year guy? Because that's where she's at, or whatever. And it's like I those things rub me the wrong way
And
because
my 2-year work or 3-year work is still better than some
and
guys who've been doing it for 10
yeah,
years,
and that's where
you
my head
know?
goes because it's one of the biggest things that has bothered me is guys that stand up and say I've been doing this for 30 years. It's like, okay, but how much training did you take on it? Did you learn how to do things from one guy 30 years ago? And God knows if it's even the right thing. People that go on Instagram now, you're learning how to tape top tier from a top tier taper in 2 years. Yeah, your taping's way better than people that have just learned for 6 weeks and have taken that knowledge and only used that for 30 years. Yeah, you're
There's also
fast.
podcasts like this that are
Yep.
now being put together. I used your sponge trick the other day, you know, to get rid of some of my bubbles, and
Yeah,
that worked out really well for me. I
yeah,
mean, I would have been there scraping that thing, and
yep,
so I remember when I first discovered plaster weld.
yeah, okay.
Okay. I was like, why didn't anybody ever tell me like 10 years ago that this stuff existed? And, when the paint is peeling off, you don't need to sit there and scrape it all off. Yeah, you want to take most of it off, but a
Yeah,
lot of times that's lead paint. Number one, that is
yeah,
not, we want to encapsulate that, or we want to safely remove it. So the best thing to do is encapsulate it. And, I would say, like, when I learned about the plaster weld, you put that baby on, you wait like a couple of hours. I mean, yes, I know the can says 1 or 2 hours, but really wait a couple hours depending on the temperature,
yeah.
time of
Let
year,
things
whatever.
cure people,
Let
okay?
yeah, let things
Just
cure.
let it
Don't
cure.
rush. Just let it
What?
cure. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. So
You're
then
very welcome. Yeah,
and then you want to go in, and you want to start, patching up the ceiling, and you want to start skim coating it, and you want to make sure you have the right product, and the stuff in the bucket is not going to work for the old houses. You need to mix it with old school plaster, or you need to use plaster, you know.
yeah, yeah.
So
God forbid you use the right material. Yeah,
God forbid. Yes. And I know that the +3 stuff is great, and we use that for finish, like
yeah,
that's like our finish coat. But I had a sub once who wanted to use that for everything,
yeah. It's
you know?
that's why there's different types of mud. It's because you need to use them at different times, and I don't think people get that. But that's the
Mhm.
difference between being having a full knowledge and being and starting. Like, I'm
Or
still wrapping
just
my head around it sometimes.
researching things to death.
Exactly.
I will say that the reason I knew that the construction industry was like where I needed to be was because if I didn't know something, I did not want to go ask anybody
Yeah, okay.
blindly. I wanted
Yeah,
to ask, but I didn't want
yeah,
to go ask blindly. Like, a perfect example is it, I would say, what type of paintbrush
yeah,
should I use for said application? The paintbrush you use for staining is not going to be the same paintbrush that you're going to use to cut,
yeah,
a wall. And it's not going to be the same sometimes that you're going to use to do trim board and things like that. So just knowing that there's different tools for
yeah,
painting and that there's different bristles and things like that, these are things that I knew existed, but I also didn't know, okay, well, fine. I know that you're supposed to use different type of paintbrushes, but what different types of paintbrushes are there? So rather than coming to my mentor or whoever I'm working with and being like,
mm,
yo, what kind of paintbrush should I buy for this? Like it's better to say, hey, which brand do you prefer? Do you
mhm,
prefer the Purdy brand or do you prefer, XYZ brand and why?
yep,
And, should I buy the brush that's, cut at an angle or at 45-degree angle, or should I buy the straight brush?
yep.
There's an answer for everything. And if you don't know, YouTube University, it's amazing. You
And there's
know?
something else to be said for just go buy all the paintbrushes and use them, right? Like, very quickly, you're gonna go, "This one works way better for these," or, like, if you are not using a brush made for cutting and you're cutting, and then someone hands you a brush made for that, it's like it's doing the work on its own.
Yeah, I'll
Uh,
go back to the Habitat for Humanity
yeah,
example. I brought all my own tools the last time I was there, and I also left all the tools, and that's part of what I also do.
okay,
And I was able to cut 2 floors of hallways by myself while 3 other volunteers, I think,
yeah,
did 1 floor because I was using the right brush. I obviously
yep,
have experience, blah, 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 like whatever. Also, the woman who was working with me prepping the surfaces before me was also experienced. So between
oh,
the
it's
two of us,
perfect.
it was like boom, 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 boom,
Yeah,
boom, 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 boom. And so, but having the right tools, yeah, really important, but also just knowing when to ask.
yep.
One of my favorite people to ask is really the suppliers.
They know the best, and if they don't know, they know who to directly send you to ask that question.
yeah, my local paint shop, that has been around for 100 years for a reason, only hires experienced managers for their stores,
Mhm,
and every single one of their managers, I don't care what part of the county I am in that I go to, I always ask, I know at this point, but I always ask, like, is this the right paint for this application? Should I use this type of primer? What do you think about oiling it first? What do you think? Like I have these conversations with the manager almost every time.
yep,
And they're like, you're one of like the few people that like ever asks these questions and like
very inquisitive.
sits
Yeah,
here with us for like 30 minutes making sure that you're getting the right paint so that it doesn't chip and you don't have to come back. And I'm like, at $75 almost a gallon for Benjamin Moore premium paint, you bet your ass I'm gonna ask which type of
yeah,
paint I need to buy
stuff's
because I
expensive.
definitely am not coming here to buy another can of paint. And so yeah, it is. The stuff is expensive. And also learning from people in other areas though. You just talked about Instagram. There's an
Yep,
amazing woman. Her name is Paint Chick.
okay,
Yeah, she's in Australia. Got like 20,000 followers or something.
mhm,
When it comes to prepping surfaces, she's the queen. If
okay,
I need to know how to prep any type of surface, I'm going on her feed. If I have not done it before, I'm going on her feed. I'm in her DMs now. She said I was one of her favorite people. Yep, saying it
Yeah.
here. Said I was one of her new favorite followers, whatever. And I straight up will go in there and ask her, I'm like, why
Yeah.
did you do this way?
Yeah.
Because in America, we do it this way. And between the two of us, I know she speaks to other American people, but I mean, I want to know why she's doing it
Yeah.
this way. And she wants to know why I'm doing things my way. And, she's also got a ton of tips and tricks, that I have recently started posting videos of me doing work.
Hmm.
I never have. I have a ton of footage,
But
never
you don't.
posted it. She's the one who really inspired me to do so. Like, I don't really need to post me doing the whole job. I can just post a reel of me cutting
Yeah.
and showing people how to cut
Yeah.
and explaining step by step what I need to do from, dipping the brush enough. A lot of people just don't have enough paint
Yeah.
on their brush.
You're coming back every 2 feet because you're out of paint because you're wiping it all off before you get it to the wall. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that doesn't work. Excuse me.
No.
Yeah, no, that doesn't work. So, and like I said, these are the two things that we focus on, the drywall and the finishing.
Hmm.
And the finishing, it could be a paint, it could be a tile finish, it could be a wallpaper finish, it could be a floor finish, and that's my niche. And,
Yeah.
the biggest reason that I operate in this manner and that I want to do this is because I do want to grow. You were talking about teamwork a little
Yeah.
bit earlier. I do want to grow to work with some of these larger prime contractors. It would be amazing to be the contractors that built the community elementary school. It would be incredible to be, part of the contracting team that, built the new community center
I was
where
just
we
about to say
teach
community center.
shop class,
Yep.
twice a week to kids in the community who don't have it in their schools or whatever. Or
Yeah.
maybe they're just busybodies with their hands, whatever. So I realize I don't want to do that whole job though.
No.
I do it now as a construction manager. I don't. But bringing in the drywall crew to do that, that's where we want to be.
Yeah.
Bringing in the finish crew to finish the job, that's who we want to be, And I had to get some stupid certifications to even get my foot in the door,
Yeah.
you know, and I hate that it's like that. And I hate that I can't just walk in and go to a meeting and bid on a job on merit alone.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And, but that's where I want to be. I mean, I love and I enjoy building out retail spaces. I enjoy remodeling houses that were built in the 1800s and
Yeah.
1900s, early
It's
1900s.
totally different. You're seeing like blacksmith nails and like things you
I
don't
have
come
some of
across.
them. I
They're
have
the
like a little
best.
I have like a little
Yeah.
construction museum in my house. And I collect stuff from the job
You
sites that I
should.
find.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's cool. We're also learning history, like construction
Mhm.
history and everything at the same time. But I research everything to death.
Yeah.
I also, one of my team members says I'm too much of a perfectionist. She's been my right-hand gal and assistant for over 10 years, and
Okay.
is now a minority partner in the business, but still a partner because she earned that. I mean, she worked with me through COVID, didn't get
Yeah.
paid. Like, she was like, I can't leave you. You're going to close the business.
Yeah.
And I would have. And so, if I want to grow, if I want to do all of these things, I love being out there. I love being on the tools,
Yeah.
everything. I know that really it's about building teams and being the best coach I
Yeah.
can be and being out there training people to also do everything that I taught myself to do. I never went into the trades with the intention of falling in love with it.
Hmm.
It was a survival thing. you know, I needed
Makes
money.
sense.
Nobody wanted to hire somebody who hadn't been working
Yep.
and or somebody who moved around a lot.
Yep.
I was kind of living a nomadic lifestyle. You can be a nomadic tradesperson. You make a lot more money that way, actually, if you
Yes.
travel.
Uh,
um, so, I, I think that construction has so much to offer to so many people.
yep.
And, I know that we've talked about so many different things today, but I would say if there's any young people watching this right now or listening to this right now, like, and when I say young, I'm saying like you're less than 30.
Yeah, in your
You're less than
20s is
you're less
young,
than
by the way.
40 even,
Well,
because you're still relatively young.
I like that you put that in for me. Thank you.
For us.
I guess that's true.
Yeah,
Oh,
but I mean, if you're less than 50, okay, because full disclosure, even my father is now in construction, and
yeah.
he was not in construction full time. He worked in oil and gas in the executive white collar side of things,
Mhm.
sales, management, whatever. But my father works for like a heavy machinery company, and this is now his second career, and the man is in his 60s. So, if he's not inspo for anybody looking for work out there that's been out of work, he came out of semi-retirement
Yeah,
just to, come into the industry and also work. You can't live off of pensions and retirements anymore. And he was young. I mean, bored. If you're still spry, do it. If you're not injured,
yeah.
definitely. I'm going to work until I can't work anymore.
Same.
My roofer is 70 something years old. Like, so I'm serious. I love him too. He's like
He's probably
amazing.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a hillbilly from upstate New York. He's the best. I mean, amazing. And I say the hillbilly with like the
Yep.
most loving and endearing, like he is amazing. And if I need to fix framing or do anything, he'll call me out in like a hot second.
Yeah.
He has no problem with that. But the young people, back to these young people,
Yeah.
I just want to say just try it.
Yep.
What's it going to hurt? Even while you're still in college, look, you can get a part-time job in the trades. You're going to make money. It's better than working at a fast food place. Um, there's nothing wrong with retail, but it's a very
Mm,
volatile industry right now. You
yeah.
never know if you're going to be able to keep your job or not. So, I mean, for anybody that's remotely interested in working with their
Yeah.
hands and
Work.
anybody who's remotely curious and or ADHD all the time, cannot
Yeah.
sit still, um, you know,
It's a
try
superpower.
construction. Yeah, try construction. Just try it. I'm not saying get a career in construction.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is give it a shot.
Go get your feet wet. Yeah.
Yeah, give it a shot for 1 year.
Yep.
If you don't like it, you can go back to being a TikTok star, okay?
Totally. Yeah, and you can now be good at that too.
Exactly.
One of the things that I really like that you just said was you called yourself a coach and not a leader, because if you're leading a group of people, that's all well and good. But if you are taking people on under your wing, you are coaching them. And I think the difference for me is a coach watches what you do and he helps you perfect it.
Mhm.
And a coach knows who you are as a person. He doesn't just know you at work.
Mhm.
It's a lot more invested when you're coaching someone for their future as opposed to just leading them. And I had that conversation with somebody this week where um he coaches his daughter's basketball and he does a bunch of stuff for the community. And I said like that those are the people you want to learn under because they're taking you on as a student. They're not taking you on as a person that works for them. And that is really when people start to kind of unfurl a little bit, because they feel safe.
I truly want GloJoy Co. to be the place where even when people leave, they say, "Oh, I learned this
Fond
because I
memories.
worked on a
Mhm.
crew with this person and with Gloria and her team
Yeah.
or any of the other project managers on my team." You know, I want people to be able to say that. I mean, if people go on my LinkedIn, it's no secret that I worked for 2 very large brands,
Mhm.
and the only reason that those corporations were able to keep me for multiple years at a time was because I did not work for a boss.
Yeah.
Also did not I worked for amazing leaders, but I worked for people who coached me
Yes.
and who saw something special in me beyond a college degree, because I'm a college dropout.
Mhm.
I should have never gotten a job as a senior analyst in a bank,
Yeah.
a commercial bank,
Yeah.
a top 5 commercial bank.
Right.
Never. I have no degree. None. I went to university for a few years, but I'm a dropout. I'm an F up according to society. But this bank and this particular organization and the people that were there and the hiring manager, who then turned out to be the president of the whole bank, by the
Yep.
way, is now currently the president in North America of the whole bank, said, you know what? You are overqualified for what I need you. Um, but I'm going to pay you this. And it was a temp job. I'm going to pay you this and you're going to do it. And in the meantime, there's other projects. You're a good project manager, it seems like,
Yep.
within the bank. We need to move from this floor to this floor, and we got to do this, this, and this. So you're going to help those teams too. you know, and we're going to pay you. It was $35 an hour at the time. And I was like,
Yeah.
word? What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Like, all I have to do is manage your calendar?
Yeah. You're like,
You
because
got
I'm
it, bro.
because I'm awful good at that. Yeah.
Sure, no problem.
Watch this.
Little did I know I was managing a global calendar. It was very, very difficult.
Oh
Very,
yeah.
very, yeah, it was tough with like 10 people
As soon
meetings.
as you said global, I was like, oh yuck.
Yeah, no, it
Different
sucked.
time zones and yeah.
It sucked royally, but I learned a lot about scheduling, which is
Oh
so
yeah.
important in the construction industry. I
Yeah.
learned about juggling different time zones. I learned about juggling different subs and different teams.
Yeah.
Again, going back to that spirituality thing, like everything that I've done in my life has led me to where I am now.
Yeah.
And I do truly believe that even though I myself tried to force myself down other paths, um, Holy Spirit power, God, always kind of like led me back here to the construction industry. And that part of this is just so much greater than me.
Yeah.
And when I meet people like you and I meet other influencers, because that's what we are, we might be micro
I
influencers,
hate it,
but
but I love it too a little bit.
we're coaches, right? But
Yeah.
online. And so I had to take that away, also that mindset
Yeah.
away. I'm not trying to be an online celebrity. I'm not trying to get to 100,000 followers. I
Yeah.
know that the 12 women, and yes, there are 12 women under the age of 25 that are in my DMs right now on Instagram, are
Brilliant.
there because I'm there to support them.
Yeah.
And because I'm there to listen when they have a tough day at work, and because
Yep.
I can tell them I've been there, or if somebody spoke to them a certain type of way on a job
Yep.
site and they don't really know how to take that to their corporate boss because they've never had to deal with that or whatever, I can help them write an email that they
Totally.
can copy paste and send to HR. Like, and
Well,
honestly, I don't care how many followers I get. I don't even care. Honestly, I don't even care if Instagram were to shut down tomorrow, like honestly,
it wouldn't
and
affect my life at all.
it would
Yep.
not affect my life at all. I have these girls' phone
Yeah.
numbers, a lot of them now, emails, all kinds of stuff. And, I say girls, I'm not trying to be derogatory. I'm not trying to be like the old white males in the construction industry. So I say
Yeah.
that for all the women here. I really do mean girls. Like we're
Yeah.
talking young girls, ladies, young women,
Yeah.
who are between the ages of 17 and 25, that maybe don't have a mentor or any
Yeah.
other woman on their job site, and they turn to social media because their job sites don't have quotas. And so I honestly, I feel fulfilled by just that,
Yeah.
and they reverse mentor me and they reverse train me, because as I learn, everything that they're struggling with, anything that they battle in their apprenticeship programs or anything. I make notes of that.
Yeah.
And I
And
tell myself, okay, when we have an apprenticeship program, we're going to do this.
we're not going to do this, or we are going
Yeah,
to
we're
do.
not going
Yeah,
to, yeah,
exactly.
exactly. So they definitely reverse mentor me. They've taught me how to edit videos. Um, you know, they've taught me how to like do voiceovers over music and other things. They've told me to get real microphones,
Yeah.
you
Which
know,
I just can't even say how much I appreciate that. This has been such a great quality conversation.
Yeah, it really does matter. I will implore to people that outside of tools, you invest in a high quality camera outside of your phone.
Yeah.
Um, what photos you use to post on your website and your social media matters.
Yep.
If not, hire a photographer after you finish a job for 150 to 200 bucks.
I was gonna say $200 on the end of anything to have nice pictures taken.
So worth it.
Pack a lunch for a week, and that's what you know what I mean? It's, yeah.
You should be packing a lunch for health reasons anyway. I'm a
Mm,
little bit of a health nut,
everybody goes, "I'm bulking." You sure
uh,
are.
eh, you know, I I will say, it's kind of like slow season now, I guess, for
Mhm.
the construction industry for a lot of people. I don't know for you, but a lot of
Never.
people, yeah, a lot of people are slowing down. We choose to slow down,
Yep.
like I said, during certain seasons because we
Mhm.
need to focus on the construction management business.
Yeah.
And this coming year, I hope to have that also figured out to where, the contracting business doesn't rely on me as much and I can run both without having to take a pause from one or the other.
Kind of from up here, yeah. It's once you get a machine running properly, you should be able to stand back, but
Well,
your phone has to be left on and things like that, but
it's work-life integration. That's what Tony
Mhm.
Robbins says, and honestly, it's the best analogy for it.
Yep.
We love what we do and we do it all day, every day. And, it never stops. I'm always wearing my brand.
Yep.
Tom Rebar, another big podcaster in the construction industry, talks a lot about sales. And some people don't like the guy because, he's all about sales. But guess what, guys? If we have no sales and we have no money in the bank, we have no business and we
True.
have nothing to do. So, yeah, not everybody has the luxury of turning down work like I do.
Yeah.
Not everybody has the luxury of not hurting right now during the winter times and slow season like you, where you're nonstop. I
Yeah.
know Kayla is also
Yeah.
nonstop, the taping queen, that tile chick. I know that they've taken
Yep.
some steps back to focus on the content creation of things. And, that's part of the reason why I haven't even started my YouTube channel. I have a lot of amazing content and great interviews. It's a lot of work and I have
You
a lot
can't
of things going on. I can't do everything.
you can't half-ass it either. That's the thing. Once you're the type of person that does 100% into things, you really do need to get a small group of things you're gonna do. And I'm starting to find that too now where, throwing a podcast into the mix, it doesn't seem to take a lot of time day to day, but if you calculate it over a month, that's a lot of time.
It
Um,
is. It
YouTube
is.
is the same thing. Baby steps. Like you were saying before, you got to get something running to where maybe you can step back a little bit before you start pulling in another direction, or you're just going to get worn out. Um,
Well, that's, I think, where most construction businesses fail.
yeah,
They try to do everything at once,
yeah,
or they try to do residential and commercial, or they try to do all types of
yeah.
residential or all types of commercial, try to do interior and exterior, like
Mhm.
you cannot specialize in everything. Like
Yeah,
we don't do any exterior work. We sub 100% of that
yeah,
stuff out. And we don't even like project manage them for the most part. Like we'll project manage the schedule,
Yeah.
but we typically have the owners hire whoever's doing the exterior work because
Yeah.
that's their specialty, and other things. So, you know, I've really enjoyed the conversation with you today. I feel
Yeah.
like
This
we
is
could
great.
go on and on and on,
I
but
know. I know.
you know, this what you're doing, and others in our industry are doing is really important. It's also God's work, it's ministry for construction.
Kind of. Yeah.
We really, and we've touched on it a couple times in this podcast, but we are really hurting as an industry for labor, for skilled trades, for workers. I, as an owner, um, ideally do not want to be picking up a skimming blade at
No,
all because, and you either, right? I mean, ideally, if you were to grow your business, which I would hope that that's, a goal or a step, or, maybe not, maybe you're going to take podcasting into more of a full time and
yeah,
coaching and, whatever direction you take.
yeah,
But the point is the owner of a company is never going to grow the company if they are working in
that's
the
right.
business all the time. So, I love what I do and I love it, but I also love to see other tradespeople as they grow their teams. I've been following a lot of you guys now for at least a year or 2 years. And, I see a lot of people starting to hire helpers and
Yeah,
to hire 2 or 3 people that work on their team, and to see additional faces and stuff. And I love to see that. It's freaking awesome. I just love to see other people in the industry grow and, just all of us growing our businesses together. So, I don't typically go to the design shows a lot,
yeah.
but I definitely felt some FOMO at IBS. Because
I'm actually going to Vegas in March for the Intex with Columbia, which is going to be fun. We are running out of time.
yeah, no worries, no worries. Yeah, that's
Where
why I said it
where are we
was.
going to where can we find you on Instagram, YouTube, everywhere? Not
Um,
YouTube, but
Actually, yeah, I do have a YouTube. It's got like
okay.
3 followers.
All right.
So we post the same reels as shorts,
Okay.
on there, and I am eventually gonna grow the channel when I have some more time. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on LinkedIn predominantly. Huge
Perfect.
on LinkedIn. My handle is the same everywhere. It's at the Gloria Marie. And
Perfect.
the business handle is the same everywhere else. Also, it's at glowjoy.co. So pretty easy peasy. We're across the board the same handle. And
And I would recommend to go and check it out. You're a very positive part of the community. I'm super happy that you came today.
thank you so much for having me. I am excited to listen to this podcast. I already know I said the words too many
It's
times,
okay.
but I tend to get nervous even though I like have the gift of gab. But most of it's because I get nervous. So thank you again.
All right, everybody. Be humble, treat everyone the same, and do your job.
God bless everybody. Thank you.